I think that we probably are live now, so I'm just going to move the camera over to you. You're live.
Alright, well, welcome guys to United Stand. This is your Sunday show live, and tonight on the show we've got Mark and Kevin with us. Tonight we're going to talk about is top four possible, what players are United class and aren't. It's quite an interesting show really for us. We've got a lot of things lined up, so let's get on with it. So first of all, I want to talk about taking Van Gaal out of the equation. What players do you guys think will? What players do you guys think have held back this season? What players haven't had United class as we know it? And I'm going to first of all pass this question on to Mark. What do you think? What players out there have held back?
We are getting a bit of echo on Zara's, so you'll have to bear with us with that. I don't know whether we're getting any on mine, and I'll start playing around with it. But loads of you saying echo there. Sorry about that. Just let me know if there's any echo with mine. But first of all, I'd just say that there's quite a few players for me that haven't performed this season. Live comments they want up as well, and I will get that up as well. Zara is echoing. Just let me know if there's any echo with me. Daley Blind's one I touched on yesterday. I think he's a good player, but he's a squad player. I wouldn't want him to go this summer, but I would like him to be on the bench. I think Rojo, Jones, Fellaini, not United class. I think Darmian maybe potentially. I don't know. Give me a minute while I get the live comments and go to Kev, and let's see if I can sort this. Oh no, my audio is okay. Let's see if there's any problems with Kev.
Alright, you go Kevin, what do you think?
Well, first of all, I'll say I've got to totally disagree with Mark there on Daley Blind. I mean, for a player that maybe preferred position was central midfield, I think Daley Blind's been brilliant this season, a shining light. I must say, when he first came into the team, the opening game against Tottenham this season, it was a worry because we'd gone after Ramos. We were looking for Otamendi, a classic kind of centre-back to come in alongside Chris Smalling, who's also been great. But for me, I think Blind's been brilliant this season, really good. And I think it was his lack of pace that kind of worried me. But I think as a footballer, I think he's just switched on, so I don't think he necessarily needs to be quick. I'd have to agree definitely on Fellaini. Certainly not his biggest fan, and I think we lumped the ball into him, play to his strengths, that is his strength. Rojo, as Mark mentioned, possibly, but he's probably more, I would say, a squad player. Jesse Lingard as well, I think, is another one for me. I think he's a slight bit of a myth. Everyone seems to think he's only about 16 years old. He's for the age of him. I know he's come through the United Youth Academy, but I think I'd expect a bit more from Jesse Lingard as well. I don't think there's many in that squad. I wouldn't say that we United class. I think it's just about getting the right blend of players. I mean, we're used to, you wouldn't have said John O'Shea, Phil Neville, players like this were so-called United class, but you put them in a team, and I think the team has to have balance, and as long as you get that, players like that can easily fit into a team, but you need your superstar players, your big name players to do the business for you.
I'll just jump in there because I was just trying to sort out the live comments as well. What I would say is then, alright, because I did get a bit flown by this. Daley Blind, I was picking up from yesterday. I think he's got a massive future at Manchester United, but I put him in the Phil Neville category, that he's a squad player. If you want to win the league, and I know this upsets people, if you want to win the league, Daley Blind's not a centre-back for me. He's a backup centre-back, he's a backup left-back, and he's a backup centre defensive midfielder. I think we play two defensive midfielders because we've got Blind in our back four. I think Rojo, Rio and Vidic in their prime, and they are miles ahead of Vidic, of Smalling and Blind. I accept that, but they didn't need two defensive midfielders in front of him. In fact, the fullbacks used to bomb on, and I think that's the problem. I think Blind has had a good season, he's been really good, but I think he's also had the luxury of two defensive midfielders and two defensive fullbacks since Shaw got injured at the side of him, and that makes it far easier. Darmian, I think, under Marino would be interesting to watch. In fact, I tweeted it earlier. I think, in fairness to most players, you can't really judge them until they've been under a different manager, because it's so obvious from yesterday as well and all season that Van Gaal is suppressing players, especially our attacking players, with his poor tactics. But yeah, Rojo, Jones, Fellaini, they've got to go. Mata, I think he's got to go. And there was a few others I said as well. Memphis is interesting. I don't know what Kev thinks on that, but back to you, Zara, with your echo.
Yeah. Well, I would have an echo now.
I fixed it. Or you fixed it.
Don't have a go at me, Mark. Jesus.
Did you fix it or did I fix it?
I think you fixed it. You said you were fixing it. Jeez, right.
Yeah,
back to business.
I fixed it.
Well, I definitely agree with Fellaini. Fellaini's got to go. Fellaini doesn't have any United class in it at all, in my opinion. I think when I say like who's held us back this season, I think Rooney's held us back, but I do think that I don't think he should go, because I guess in the Villa game I sort of seen the leadership skills that he had. I seen sometimes if there's a bad pass, he'd jump in there and he'd pass it back to tell the guys, no, obviously man on, just let's carry on with it. And fair enough, he wasn't on for the full 90 minutes, but after being injured, I'd have to say he did put in quite a good effort, I thought, personally. I don't know what you guys think in the comments. Some people in the comments are saying that, I think they're saying that David Daly put, if De Gea is gone, will Romero do, or do we have to buy someone much better? And I'd probably say, yeah, we do, because Romero doesn't have that confidence in the Barclays Premier League. I'd say more like any other team possibly, you know, in a different league, but not the BPL. I just don't think they'd be able to. A lot of people are saying Blind is too slow. That's from Romando Coleman. It is too slow to play left back. Well, I agree with Kev on that one. I think Blind's done fantastically, and I think, to be honest, we've seen that he is so committed and dedicated to the game that he hasn't held us back. He's been there at a time in our season where we've needed as much support and dedication in the squad as much as possible, and he's brought that. So he shows that he is capable of actually progressing and being better. Obviously, maybe under good management, he could progress and he could succeed, but we're not going to know that, obviously, until after the summer. But after the summer, loads of people may go. Everyone's saying Mata needs to stay or Mata needs to go, and I think that Mata actually has a lot of passion. He's a bit like Herrera in the sense that Herrera's passion completely, and that is United to me. The passion to be on the pitch, not someone who's just there for money. And I don't think Mata is. I do have a soft spot for Mata, and I don't know what you guys think about that, but I just think that I go to the game yesterday and I seen Mata constantly on the pitch pointing to pass the ball and everything to him when there was actually massive space, and the rest of the players just completely ignored him. And maybe that's because of, obviously, in training where they've just gone, oh, let's just pass it side to side and that's it, whereas Mata was running straight forward when there was a gap and everyone just ignored him. You're never really going to be able to judge correctly this season because of how bad it's been. Other people are saying, Zane Charles said Phil Jones needs to go, Lingard needs to go, and Rojo all needs to go. And I'd say I sort of agree with that. Lingard, I'd say more of a squad player, but he's not really shone for me this season. I've seen glimpses of it, but that's because he's been in the right place at the right time. And just one more person I want to talk about is Memphis, like Mark touched on. I think for Memphis, he's scared to just have a first touch on the ball, and he had that confidence at the start of the season, but maybe that was just delusion in him and it was just a bit egotistical. I don't know what any of you guys think about Memphis, if you want to comment on that.
I just want to quickly, I'm sure people will be happy with me doing this, but we did go on Twitter and put it out to everybody, and the wonders of this new technology is I can make Zara disappear and put your Twitter comments up on the page. So what players aren't United class? And we've got Billy. Billy's well known on Twitter. We normally have a bit of banter on there, but he's saying Valencia, Fellaini, Young, Rojo, players we should replace, Carrick and Rooney. Other players need to play correct positions. De Gea wants out. Louis van Gaal is a dick. Woody thinks Louis van Gaal a genius. Glazers are greedy bastards. What a mess. I love Twitter comments. They're brilliant. Billy says Jose Mourinho's coming on 2nd of June. We will touch on that in a minute. Fellaini's not even fit to wear a training top, never mind being the squad. Lynn Hall, Lynn's well known to the channel. Doubt will sell Rooney, I'd agree with that. She's made a few comments, Lynn. Busy. It's easier to say De Gea, Rooney, Marshall and Rashford. Rashford, Lingard, yeah. Let me just pass them through, and if there's anything funny in there, Fellaini, Lingard. I think Lingard's an interesting one as well, but Players like Memphis need to be given time, says Septic. But we'll get back Zara. But Kev, if you want to have a quick chat about Memphis, what your thoughts are on him?
He certainly no problem with the odd million, and the only success story. I mean, Martial has obviously been fantastic. I think he'll get better and better, but I can only think really of the players that he signed on from early in his career, Daley Blind being the only one really that stands out as being somebody who's performed consistently on a week-to-week basis. I mean, apart from that, if you look back, you think obviously Falcao didn't work out. Di Maria had his issues, but still, I don't think he got the best out of Di Maria. I think Matt has failed under him. I think Rooney to an extent. I mean, these are all, big name players. And what it boils down to is Louis van Gaal and this philosophy thing. He just has not worked it out. He cannot get it right. It's either, ultimately a defensive team, and that's exactly what you got yesterday. Now, if we were going for the title yesterday, we might have looked at it and thought, well, do you know what? It's a trait of a good side that we've just won 1-0. It's a sign of a championship winning team that you win even when you play badly. But that's why the supporters did not buy into that yesterday. They did not accept it. And that's why so many people left the match early yesterday, because it was boring. And you knew that once United went up, 1-0 up, Louis van Gaal was happy with that. The clipboard was out. He's doing his order for the Chinese takeaway last night. He was happy with that. That was job done. And it's just not good enough. We were playing Aston Villa, for Christ's sake. We relegated them yesterday. They've been awful. Everyone has dipped them and beaten this season. And we scraped a 1-0 win against them, which it's just not good enough. And ultimately, it'll be the reason that Van Gaal does leave this summer, because it's just not good enough for Manchester United.
It definitely isn't. So let's move on to the next thing. With 4 points off Arsenal and City, both have to play each other still, but do you guys think that we can get top 4? Keep commenting below and we'll try and get your comments read out. Let's go to Mark. You've been quiet a little bit, so what do you think? Do you think we'll get top 4?
Yeah, I do. No, I don't. I think people are having problems with this slagging, and I'm just trying to find out why, because it seems to be working fine at this end. But do let us know in the comments section. It might be the quality of your broadband, because we are, as somebody said, it's a bit like Sky Sports the way it looks at the moment. But we are trying new things. But if it's not working for everyone, we might have to change back. Top 4, no, I don't think we will get it. We're 4 points off Arsenal and City. City aren't going to lose it. I mean, yesterday was the chance against Chelsea. We needed to boost our goal difference. City and Arsenal have got to play each other. If they both draw and we win, then we can obviously close the gap in. But if we get I think Arsenal's running is very easy apart from the Arsenal City game. And I think City are in such good form that Arsenal are the masters of 4th place, and City just look like the best team in the league at the moment. So I can't see it. And also, I think we'd have to win our last however many games we've got, our last 5 games, and Louis van Gaal has got a 50% win rate. So to win 5 games in a row, I think it's highly unlikely. I think 4th place was gone in January. I pretty much said that then. I'd like us to do it. I think there's a danger if we get top 4 that Van Gaal will stay, and then you're battling for 4th place next year. Personally, I've sort of accepted we won't get top 4, and I'm preparing for Mourinho to come in. So if we got top 4 and then that meant that Van Gaal's kept for a year, I think, you know what, I've sort of prepared for not having top 4. I'd rather get Mourinho is the short answer.
Yeah. Well, I agree with you there. I don't think we're going to get top 4. I just think that after the way we played at Aston Villa, we were just settling for a score. We weren't fighting. I think we should have been 4 goals up there. So I think if we're going to have that mentality for every single match, then we're definitely not going to get top 4 at all. Some of the comments are, well, our very own Draughty Devil, he's commented saying, 4th place is a pipe dream. It's like settling for spam when you want Christmas turkey. Other people have a lot of people are saying top 4's gone. There's only been 1 comment so far saying that we can still get 4. And that's from Cooley saying Arsenal or City will implode. What do you think, Kevin? Do you think Arsenal and City will bottle it?
I must say, I mean, I was surprised that Arsenal have dropped points today, especially the way they played. They totally dominated it, and if anyone can give up that kind of place, it's going to be Arsenal. I totally agree. City are going to make top four. Probably the worst thing for us was De Bruyne coming back at this stage of the season. He almost looks like, you know, a new player. I mean, he's been absolutely brilliant. You wouldn't have even known he's been out for a few months with an injury. Arsenal, I think, now are the ones that we're probably looking at. But like Mark said, I think their running is quite a hell of a lot easier, really, come to the end of the season. So, yeah, it's in their hands. But, I mean, until it's mathematically impossible that we can't make it, then obviously you still think we can, and you'd like to think that points are going to be dropped, and it's just all about keeping in there and keep the pressure on them, because like you say, if Arsenal and City have actually got to play each other, then somebody's dropping points. But for me, City will finish inside that top four, and I think we now need to be more or less looking at Arsenal. And yeah, I think it's a possibility. Don't get me wrong, I wouldn't be betting my mortgage on it or anything, but until it's mathematically impossible, there's still a chance.
Yeah, definitely. I'd say that, yeah, mathematically there is a chance, but I'd say the only chance we've got is if Arsenal end up messing up along the way, because teams like City, they're going to just go for it. You've got players like Aguero there who are ridiculously good, who's going to score goals. I mean, we end up creating the chances and not finishing them, and that's one of the things that I think everyone's noticed this season after speaking to some people. Well, I spoke to some fans yesterday at the ground, and the video will be up soon, but they've said that they found some positives in Van Gaal's youth development. Do you guys think that Van Gaal's the reason as to why there's been such good youth developments? And the thing is, the stats don't lie. Is this the worst season for United so far that you've seen as a United fan? What do you think, Mark?
Go to Kev first, because I'm messing around with something and I'm messing up this whole thing.
Okay, well, Mark's out of it. So what do you think, Kev? As a United fan, for the whole time you've been a United fan, is this the worst season that you've seen so far?
I think I've seen seasons under Ferguson where we're probably quite similar, but I think it's just because we're trying to judge it over the last couple of years, and now people are kind of referring to the David Moyes era, and I think the stats do not lie. It's actually been worse under Van Gaal than it has under David Moyes, which is, again, it's the reason that I do, even if we make top four and if we win the FA Cup, I still do not think it's good enough, and it's the reason that Van Gaal will go. I mean, the statistic, I looked at the league table today, this tells you everything about Manchester United, and we're crying from the terraces every week, attack. Sunderland have scored 39 goals this season, and Manchester United have scored 40 goals this season. And for me, when I've seen that today, we've scored one more goal than Sunderland this season. You think how bad they are, and they're in the relegation places. There's teams all over that league that have scored more goals than us. I think Bournemouth have scored more, Everton, Liverpool, there's loads of them. And that's where our huge problem has been. Defensively, we've not been that bad, but as an attacking force, I mean, yesterday I thought that, I thought we'll do these today. I got 3 or 4 goals, and it just obviously never materialised. But yeah, it's been a bad season, and football-wise, to watch that, do you know what? I'd rather got beat yesterday and played really good football where it was one of them days the ball would go in the back of the net. But yeah, it's to be holding on like that at the end of the game against Villa at home, it's just not good enough.
Yeah, definitely. Abs 21's put, with Moyes, we were battered by City and Liverpool. Well, fair enough, you know, we've not been battered by like the big teams, but I thought we gave Villa too many chances, and I thought that was hurtful as a United fan to see a team that's been relegated to actually have that chance at us. They're able to just battle through any of our attacks, battle through any of our midfield, and battle through our defence so easily. And that is painful to see as a United fan, watching us be an easy team. We used to be feared all the time. if another team thought, oh yeah, well we're against Man United next in our fixture, they'd go, all right, okay, well we've got to make sure that we're good enough. And I think Moyes was a better season than what we've got now, because Moyes knew sort of where he went wrong, whereas with Van Gaal he's completely delusional. Everyone's saying that everyone's agreeing so far, saying that LVG is worse, because everyone's saying H-Boss put LVG would never play talented youths, and that's true because he only played them due to injuries. That was the only reason why. Otherwise, what was the point? I spoke to some fans yesterday and they were saying that some of the fans were a little bit blinded by it all and said, oh, LVG's played the youth off his own back, you know, Moyes hasn't done that or anything. And no, it was just because of huge amounts of injuries when he had no choice. If he did have a choice, Rashford would have never had a chance this season, or other players like Borthwick Jackson, for example, he would have never had a chance. It's all these type of players that come along that, unless we didn't have such a bad season as we've had so far, they wouldn't have been able to have a chance at all. Mark, what do you think? Are you free to talk now?
Yeah. There's a couple of things I'm going to say, actually. I can't stand Louis van Gaal. I want him to go. But there was something somebody was saying today on Twitter, it might have been Billy, saying that the Louis van Gaal out campaign is embarrassing and he deserves a lot of credit for the youth. Well, the youth, we're not Crew Alexandra. We don't just produce youth players to sell them on. We're Manchester United, and youth is third in the list of the three big things for me as a Man United fan. One is you've always got a challenge for the title. You can't stand still, and I think we've gone backwards. Two, you've got to play good football. And three, the youth, which has been around in the matchday squad since the 1930s. So he's got one right, but he's got two really, really, really badly wrong. And if you want to give him credit about the youth, which I think you've both covered perfectly, there's doubts on that, because I for a fact know that Rashford would not be anywhere near the starting lineup if it wasn't for Wilkie, Rooney, Martial and every bloody other striker we had being injured. But if he's so good at the youth, he's awful at playing good football and he's awful at making us be title contenders. Give him a bloody job as director of youth. He doesn't need to be the Manchester United manager. So that's where his failings are for me. But unfortunately, or fortunately, me and Kev are slightly older than most people, and it isn't the worst season I've experienced in my life. Funnily enough, it was 89-90 when we last won the FA Cup, and then history might strike itself again. I think we finished about 14th in the league. We got 48 points and we scored 46 goals, which is way worse than Van Gaal now. But for anybody who wants to throw that up and says, well, history could strike itself again, very, very different worlds. Ferguson was taking over a different side and he was going to be here for 25 years. Van Gaal's right at the end of his. So I have seen worse seasons, but they were worth enduring. I don't think they are with Van Gaal. And finally, Moyes or Van Gaal, Moyes was worse than Van Gaal, in my opinion. Because what did Moyes do? I never wanted him as the manager. He came in and he got rid of the backroom squad. He got rid of some really experienced players. He made bigger mistakes than Van Gaal. At least Van Gaal has set some foundations in place. I think the football probably was slightly better under Moyes. But if I'm being absolutely honest, and I can't stand Van Gaal, if I'm being absolutely honest, I'm not going to dig him out for that. I would say Moyes for me was worse. But they're both so bad, it's nothing to celebrate. It's by saying he was worse.
But when you think about it, Moyes actually had a better statistic than Van Gaal. So when you think of it in that perspective, then
he got us to a Champions League quarter-final as well.
Yeah, exactly. So when you actually think of it statistically, just the football was better and we're actually having more chances.
Well, you're at the ground on. I think you're going to the ground on Wednesday, aren't you? Because it's very interesting. Because it's Louis van Gaal's 34th game of the season. And he's got 1 or 2 points less than Moyes had when he was sacked after 34 games and scored about 20 goals left. So statistically, it's not looking good. And this is Van Gaal's second season. So there we go.
Yeah. See, everyone's saying that Moyes got a 7th, but the thing was that I think this Premier League is completely different on the league table. You don't know who's going to finish where, so it's a completely different scenario. Don't think of the place where you finish, think of the actual game itself. And when you think of the passion on the pitch, now it's very difficult to see any players of ours actually having passion on the pitch. Like I've said before, Herrera's had passion, and I've seen Marta have passion, but the rest of the players, you're a bit unsure as to whether you have passion on the pitch. And I think Moyes did sort of bring that because they've just finished from Fergie and they just thought, no, we want to play Manchester United style. Whereas now, are we getting rid of that Manchester United fight that we had on the pitch where we'd constantly fight and we'd constantly want to win? Whereas now, we're just a team that's just wanting possession and that's it. What do you think, Kev?
Yeah, I kind of tend to agree. I think it's something we have struggled with. I don't think it helped that Van Gaal named Rooney as his captain, although, I mean, before that I probably would have thought he would have made a great leader and captain, but I really ultimately do not think that he inspires and rallies the troops on the pitch as much as other captains could and probably should have. Yeah, I mean, it has been disappointing. I did think that when Louis van Gaal first come, I thought he was a breath of fresh air compared to Moyes. But I mean, like Mark says, I mean, anyone would have been a breath of fresh air compared to David Moyes, because I mean, that was really bad. And in Van Gaal's defence, yes, he brought some players in from the youth, but again, like you say, the flip side of that is he's almost been forced to have done this because of the position he left himself in. He let so many players leave the club, didn't really replace players like Van Persie, which has obviously left us short up front. And like Mark touched on, I mean, Will Keane was in the team. If he didn't get injured, Marcus Rashford wouldn't have scored 7 goals for United at this moment in time. I think he's had a huge stroke of luck, but you would have to say that at the end of the day, Van Gaal was big enough to give Rashford his chance, which he has taken. And they're the kind of players you want to see in the squad. You think of the impact that Rashford has made compared with Memphis that we spent 20 odd million on. Look at the attitude of both players. One's feet is firmly on the ground. He knows exactly what the club's all about. He's grown up knowing the United way, and on the other side there you've got Memphis, who to me is just like a playboy. He thinks he's already made it. He's earning stupid amount of money each week, you know, and Rashford is on, reportedly about 1,000, 1,500 quid a week. That's where the difference is these days with modern day footballers and somebody that does not understand the club. And you've got the total opposite there with Rashford, who is a Manchester lad, knows exactly what it's all about. You see him score the winning goal in the derby. You know, that means everything to him. And then you've got somebody like Memphis, who he's just there picking up a paycheck every week. He doesn't really seem that arse that he's not performing. And I think that's very, very sad. But this is a player that Louis van Gaal supposedly knew very well through the Dutch team. And he brought him to Manchester United, so he has to be partly responsible for bringing a player like Memphis to the club. Surely he should have got the best out of him, and he's not getting that.
No, definitely I agree with you there. Like, when you were talking about Rashford, I completely agree in the sense that when Rashford scored at that derby and everything, that everyone just went, that is a Manchester United player. An 18-year-old lad comes in and puts 150% in, and that's how you know it works. But then you've got a player like Memphis, like you said, who comes in and LVG can't really manage that. Maybe it's just because he actually does work better with the youth. God knows, because are any of us actually sure of what's actually going on with United? Because everything's always kept just shut-lipped constantly all the time. Comments-wise, Rick Wally says LVG sucks, get Jose in. We'll talk about that in a minute. Stuart Marston said, I think LVG underestimated the Premier League, and I'd probably say he did. Maybe he had a bit of an ego when he thought, well, this is just going to be simple for us because they won with Fergie and stuff. Maybe this is going to be a simple ride for me now, because he has said that he was going to retire anyway after a few years. Sorry, I can't pronounce your name. Is it David Gillingham? Moyes was better than Van Gaal, hands down. Other people have put LVG won the most titles and trophy of all current EPL managers. Fact, that's from Realise. That is a tongue twister. And other people are saying that, talk about players now, Cooley's put, Smalling is the only defender that we should keep in the side next season. We need a makeover big time. What do you guys think about that? Do you think, is that the only player we should keep, Mark? Smalling?
No. Get rid of him. No, you need to keep more than that. I mean, I purposely didn't mention Rooney because he's not going to go, because he's not going to break the goals record this year. So he's not going to go this summer. Smalling's good. I'm looking forward to watching Smalling in the Euros because he's not going to have two defensive midfielders in front of him. And I think it's everyone says we've got a really good defence, but if you've watched us like you two have, and you go to a lot of the games as well, so it's we're not a tight defence. We're actually a very good defence because we've got a goalkeeper who saves. We give a lot of chances away, is my point. So it's not that we've got a good defence, and we've also got two defensive midfielders and two fullbacks who don't bomb on. So Smalling's an interesting one, but I think he will be good enough. Schweinsteiger will. Hopefully he can come good. Rashford definitely. Fosu Mensah, them two I think are going to be great players. But I do.
Do you think Carrick should stay?
Carrick, well, me and Kev both love Carrick, but I have sort of accepted that he'll have one good game and one bad game, and I think that's part of his decline. I think his age. Depends who you're going to bring in. I know Everton are interested. I would wish him all the best if he went there, and I think he could. He's on the decline for sure, but he does still offer a lot to the team. And actually, I think we missed him and Herrera yesterday massively. But yeah,
I say I agree with one of the comments. The Legend of Gaming, he's put, we missed Shaw big time, and we have missed Shaw big time this season. I think, because I thought Shaw would have made a huge impact defensively.
Yeah, but in fairness to him, he wouldn't make. I don't think he'd have made a massive difference. We might have. He's not going to give us another 9 points because that's not his position to do that. I personally, I don't know what Kev thinks, but I personally think that Herrera, we've been on about for about 18 months. He's been treated really badly by Louis van Gaal. Everyone wanted to say, oh, Rashford, because it was a great goal on Wednesday night, and some people were even saying Fellaini, even though he was at fault for the West Ham goal. But it's almost like he's taken on the Carrick mantle, because Herrera was the reason we played so well against West Ham, and then he was the reason we played so badly yesterday, because he gets the ball, he does do wayward passes, but he wants to play the ball forward, and he links the midfield and the attack quickly, and we didn't do that yesterday, and we did it against West Ham, and he hadn't played for ages, and we played well, and it's as simple as that for me.
Yeah, I agree with that. Other people are saying that Gregor McHughes put, I'll put this to you, Kevin. Could you see Blind as the new Carrick? His passing is great and maybe worth a go.
I must admit, when he first came to United, I thought he was a ready-made replacement for Michael Carrick, because I thought he played the midfield role really well. But I think he's played that many games now at centre back. I've actually forgot really what he brings to the midfield. Well, I'd say forget. I mean, he can clearly pass a ball like Carrick can. It would be interesting, but I just think it's such an important part of the team now and position that you need a top draw player there. Now, for me, I think Blind's done no harm in what he's done this season. I think he's one of the first names on that team sheet at centre-back. I think him and Smalling complement each other really, really well. And that's what you need. It's not necessarily superstars that you need at the back. Like I touched on before Daley Blind went into that role, United fans were having meltdowns because Otamendi had gone to City. And I think, again, Van Gaal has obviously spotted that in Blind, knowing that he could play this central sort of kind of role at United. And you think of like Bruce and Pallister, they didn't have much pace, but as a centre-back pairing, they just worked in tandem together really, really well. Luke Shaw, like you say, I was going to mention, I don't know who that person was you were saying before that said, get rid of all the defenders apart from Smalling, because Luke Shaw, before he got that horrific injury, was easily Manchester United's best player of the season. Consistently, every week was getting at least an 8 out of 10 and gives us an option down the left. An extra attacking option as well because he gets that far forward, and we've missed that this season big time, absolute big time. That'll be like a new signing when we get him back. Like Mark touched on, Carrick, I love him. I think he's been a great servant for Manchester United. A lot of people I don't think have understood what Michael Carrick brought to United, but I do think that this will be his last season. And personally, I would not be surprised to see him leave this season. I think age has caught up with him. He was never quick It's the legs. But I think once the mind's not as sharp as it was, and you're making mistakes like he did at Anfield, I think it's finally caught up with him. So yeah, great servant for the club, but I think this summer would be the right time to let him go. Don't think there's not much room in football now, sentiment-wise. You've got to make that change, and I could probably see Carrick leaving this season.
Mark, is that breaking your heart?
What? Carrick leaving?
Yeah.
Nah, times move on, don't they? At some point, we'll have to get rid of you from the United stand, and we'll move on.
All right, then with that bombshell. Next talk. I don't know whether I'm even pronouncing this right because I don't speak any German whatsoever. I speak a little bit of Spanish, but never mind. Bild, it's a reputable German paper. They've come out this morning confirming that Jose to United for definite. What do you guys think of that? What do you think, Mark? Do you think Jose's definite now after that?
I think it's so. I think Balaguer, who's Spanish, apparently. I don't think he is. I think his name's Steve from Essex, and he just puts it on. Hello, I like it. I think a lot of people have been saying for a long time it's a done deal. I think everything points to the fact it's a done deal. I think all of us probably want it to be a done deal. I didn't want Mourinho 6 months ago. I think the club's in such a bad situation. It has to be Mourinho because he's the only one I'd trust to get it right. I don't know whether the football will be good or whatever, but he'll win us a title, and that's what we need to do to start again. I don't know. I really do think it is a done deal, but then I just think Manchester United are just so capable of messing this up, and whether that's as fluking top four or even an FA Cup win, it does concern me, and I won't 100% believe it till it happens, but I think everything suggests it's going to happen. The way the club's not denied it, and I know people say, oh well, they didn't deny this, they didn't deny that, but it's undermined Van Gaal for the last 3 months, and if you could easily just come out and say there's nothing in this, and they never ever have. I think it's going to happen, but my lack of faith in United and the bad decisions they made over the last 3 years, I would never 100% commit myself, but I hope if it happens, it's going to be a fantastic summer, and obviously we'll be there with you to do all the reactions to it and the transfers and stuff. It will be a brilliant present to us all if it happens, and I'll be really excited for next season, even if we haven't got Champions League football. So yeah, I hope it's going to happen, but you won't get me saying it's definitely going to happen because I don't want to believe it until it's true.
So I guess it's one of those things where you just don't want to jinx it because you just don't want to tempt fate at all with it. I think that it's been going around for so long now, you just sort of innately believe it, that it's going to happen because it's so common. It's like common knowledge for everyone. As soon as you walk down, as soon as you mention Mourinho, they just go, oh yeah, he's going to be next season's United manager. But some people yesterday said Pochettino. What do you think, Kevin? Do you think he's more likely than Mourinho?
For me, it has to be the worst kept secret in football. I just cannot see how it cannot happen now. I think there's too much kind of fuel to the fire, and the rumours that are consistently going about. Everybody's on it. The journalists that are kind of reporting it, and I think the agent Mendes, I don't think he's not made any kind of secret of the fact that Mourinho wants this job. I think he's wanted it since probably about maybe 3 or 4 years ago. I was looking at the comments. Was it the Champions League, Ferguson's last season when Real Madrid knocked us out? And I always thought at that stage that there was something quite strange. It's almost Mourinho's got this kind of obsession with United, and for him to come out after that match when they beat us 2-1 and Nani got sent off, and he was just too nice towards United. It was he consoled Nani after the game. He come out and said that the best team had lost. I just think he's ready-made to go in there, especially with the news of Guardiola going to the blue side. I just think for Manchester as a whole, to get Mourinho in and get them two up against each other again, it'll give us a huge lift. And I think even transfer target-wise, it'll just blow everybody else out of the water. You'll have Mourinho in charge of the biggest club in the world, and he will be a big attraction to get players in. And yeah, I'm looking forward to it. put money on it. I would put money on Mourinho being at United. Definitely think it's going to happen. And like Mark says, I think silence speaks volumes sometimes. The fact United haven't come out, they've not really publicly backed Van Gaal, although we hear that Ed Woodward supposedly likes the idea of him seeing out his contract. United cannot let the opportunity of getting Jose Mourinho at this moment in time tied into a deal at Old Trafford. They cannot let it go just to let Van Gaal see out one more year, because that's all he's going to do. He's already said he's going to retire. So why would you keep him in charge for 1 year and let Mourinho end up at PSG or whoever else will take him just for the fact that you want to save face and think, well, we didn't sack another manager, after we've sacked 2 managers here since Sir Alex Ferguson left. Get it done. Throw a set of balls, Ed Woodward, make the best decision for Manchester United. I think he owes that to us. He just has to be strong and make this decision.
Yeah, I completely agree with you there, Kevin. I think he does owe us fans something. We put money into the club, we want good football back. That's what we want constantly all the time. People are saying, Stuart Marston said again, I hope Jose will come because De Gea will probably stay. That's another thing as well, like, we want the best of the best. We want Manchester United to be on top. With a manager like Mourinho coming in, he'll attract big players to come in, but he'll also attract the big players to stay. And I think it'd be an absolute shame for us to let De Gea go again. It is a huge possibility that he could go, and he could go to Real Madrid. But that's just one of the issues really that we've got to face with. Some people are saying, some people I've just lost the bloody comment, but some people are saying that well, they think that we're going to be really disappointed because Mourinho isn't going to come in. But then if Mourinho doesn't come in, then who's going to come in? Giggs? Well, I don't think Giggs is experienced enough. He's not got that managerial experience at all, whereas learning off Mourinho, possibly, Giggs would have the experience for a long-term manager, for like a lengthy one, like what Fergie did, and that's what we need. Charlie R said give it to Giggs. Who else is saying that? Andrew Ellis put, Giggs has a personality of a turnip, don't know what.
I like that comment, yeah.
Yeah, it's quite good. Quite random, but Tots Kazim's put Mark for James Bond.
I'm in talks,
Completely
yeah.
out.
I'm in talks.
Yeah.
It's me or Kev, apparently.
See, what's in it for Dave if he stays? David Nelson's put. Well, if we have a manager like Mourinho coming in, then we could get top class football once again.
De Gea will stay. De Gea will stay if we get Mourinho because they've got the same. They've got the same agent. It's 100% he'll stay.
Yeah.
He'll only go if Van Gaal goes. So Yeah. What's a Dele Alli wave anyway? There's a comment there saying, "Can you give me a Dele Alli wave?" I don't know what it is.
We need demonstrations. Can people send videos in on Twitter? Mac has put rather Gary Neville than Giggs as a manager, and I have to say, people at the match yesterday that I spoke to, they were saying that if they had the choice of a class of '92, they'd pick Neville any day of the week. What do you think, Mark?
Scholes.
What do you think, Kevin?
The pick of I would have thought that Gary Neville would have. I think he still will make a good manager. I think the time wasn't right, and he maybe bit off a bit more than what he could chew. What he got involved with there in Spain. We've already had Phil Neville there. That didn't work out too great. I don't understand that. Give it Giggs. I think it's just such a cop out and an easy kind of flippant comment to make. Give it Giggs. Give it whenever anything's going wrong, like under Moyes, wasn't it? Give it Giggs till the end of the season. Fair enough, but he's got no managerial experience at all. And we're talking about the biggest club in the world. I just like I say, this obsession with giving it to somebody who's played for the club, cannot understand it. So no, I would not give it Giggs. I would not be comfortable with it. I appreciate everything he did for Manchester United. I do not for 1 minute doubt that he's got the club at heart, and he obviously loves Manchester United, but that's not enough. Not enough these days. That's what it comes down to. You need the best person with the best CV, best qualified to do it. Any job in the world, it's the same. You couldn't just get a job, down the road in, I don't know, a local insurance, I don't know, call centre, just purely because you did something years ago and people, love you and think you're great. You need to be qualified for that job, and that's what will get Mourinho the job, I think.
Lee Sharp jig, David Nelson. David Nelson just said, what's your favourite celebration in football? It's the Lee Sharp jig. Kev knows what I'm on about. Lee Sharp jig. I can't do it here. I'll do a video. No, I won't really. But,
the Sharpie shuffle.
I thought it was the Lee Sharp jig.
I don't know where you got that from.
Maybe I made it up.
Sounds very Irish, that.
It wasn't like this. It was like this, something like this. It was like...
Yeah, but you got.
You can't see my hands. It's like this.
The Lee Sharp jig.
The story feels pretty good.
I've just lost credibility now.
You know, if you're on holiday though, and like you're about to dive in the pool, you do the story like whilst you're diving in.
That's the worst celebration in football. Fucking hell.
Like,
when Mourinho did it with him as well, and they were like,
Yeah.
they need to shoot. No, don't condone that. But I would have Scholes. In fact, he's probably my number one player I'd love to interview. So sort that out for me, Zara.
Oh yeah, I'll
you can
do
stay.
my best.
Yeah,
Scholes, if you're watching, I'm coming for you. Yeah. Scholes, though, I'd say he's so vocal about United and everything that I just think he would be a really good manager.
So is Roy Keane though, and he was crap, but
Yeah.
he talks a lot of sense.
Yeah, he does. Talks a lot of sense. Quite passionate, just proper outgoing and loud about it, and that's what you need. You need someone to have guts. But we're all screwed anyway, because the Draughty Devils thought I've signed a 2-year contract as the new United manager with Alex as my assistant. And considering if that ever happened, every single match Alex would have a different player on his back constantly, so one player would be injured or completely, maybe they'd just be out of football entirely. That'd probably happen. His name, we just said, I'm sorry if I pronounced that name completely wrong, Jose is not for us. Do you think Jose is for us, guys? Oh, you're just going to be really quiet on me?
No, I'm still here. I think Kev's
Jose
still
is for
here.
us?
Kev's still here, aren't you, Kev?
Yeah, I really do. If you'd have asked me this question a year ago, I would have said that it's not. I think, like Mark said, things have got that bad. I do not think we can afford to miss out on him. And I know loads of people have this counter-argument thing that he doesn't promote youth and he'll overlook that and he'll rip the soul out the club, the baggage that comes with him, the eye gouging, the this, that, the media thing. Do you know what? We need that right now. And I think, I've said it before anyway, I think Mourinho will buy into Manchester United. He'll know what's expected of him at Old Trafford. This isn't Chelsea. It's not Real Madrid. You know, they are a bit of a circus. This is Manchester United. He's going to have people like Bobby Charlton, you know, that do stick the nose in at Old Trafford. He's going to have Sir Alex Ferguson overlooking him in the stand. And I think he'll rise to that. He's a person, he's got the personality for the job. He's got that it's us against the world attitude. He will make Man United hated again. And that's what we want. We want everybody else to basically hate us. And he will turn it into that siege mentality where it's us against the world, it's us against the press. You know, he'll get it into them players' minds. Everybody hates us. Go out there, beat this team, beat that team. And that's what it comes down to. That's what I want at Old Trafford. And we've not had that since Sir Alex Ferguson left. I don't mean to sound spoiled because I know it's only 3 years since he went. But we want that back. We want a manager who speaks sense. You know, gracious in defeat. Comes out before the match with confidence, breeds confidence. He'll come out and tell you exactly what he thinks. Because at the minute we've got a bit of a charlatan in Louis van Gaal who is covering up big time. There's cracks there at Old Trafford and he's coming out after games just saying stupid, ridiculous things. After beating Sheffield United in the FA Cup, we scraped through 1-0 and his excuse when the reporter said to him, you didn't create that many chances, you were lucky to go through. He puts the ball back in the Sheffield United court. Well, Sheffield United didn't do too much. You know, we are the home team, man. We should be winning. We're expected to win. Sheffield United aren't even in the Premier League. And that's, again, where he's failed at Manchester United this season. Sorry to ramble on for so long.
No, it's all right. I'd say that I completely agree with that. Mourinho would make us hated again. He would, but more importantly, he'd make us feared. And we need to have that fear factor with us constantly all the time, because that's how we used to be. That's how we used to intimidate other teams all the time. The legend of gaming put, Zara, would you support Arsenal, Chelsea or Man City? And that's complete utter no. Man United through and through. I wouldn't even dream of supporting another team. If you even dream of supporting another team, then you're not a Manchester United fan. You're just someone like City who just jumps on the bandwagon constantly all the time when someone's winning trophies. But I think, is that all we have time for, guys?
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, that's all we have time for. Well,
no, I just want to say something very quickly.
Oh, there you go.
One, I've noticed you read Legend of Gaming out a lot, so I don't know what's going on there. But two, 4 o'clock tomorrow. This is really important. 4 o'clock tomorrow on the United stand. We've got Zara was at the match yesterday, asking United fans a very, very tough question. We don't mess about on the United stand. We've got the live comment box over there that you were all commenting on, part of the show now. And we are also going to be at the game asking people about difficult questions. None of this nice stuff. What's your best signing, this, that and the other. On the spot questions. We did that yesterday. Well, I didn't. Kev was on it as well. It will be up at 4 o'clock tomorrow. Well worth a watch and a very good new thing that's part of the channel. And I just want to ask as well, I don't know how this has gone down tonight. I don't know whether any of you have had any problems watching it. So while Zara's wrapping up, please do comment on the comments box and let us know any issues you've had with this. We're obviously really happy with it. It's great to have your live comments on there, and it allows us to do some interactive stuff. So I just would like to know. Calvin Carrick, Red Rumours will be back. We've just had a break because of transfer stuff. Got quite a few new shows starting up as well. I think Kev's going to crack on still providing his van cams, which are great as well. Great to have Kev back on the Sunday show as well. So lots changing, but the main thing, and when Kev was saying there, you know, we're sort of against, you know, we fight against the press, and you know, we don't care if we're hated. That's very much like the United stand, really. But back to you, Zara.
Yeah, so cheers guys for all of you watching. We all appreciate you loads. We're an independent fan channel, and this is for you guys. We're fans just like you, and we're just doing this for you guys. We want all your opinions to come across constantly all the time. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, follow us all on Twitter. We're all on Twitter at United Stand MUFC, at @Z_Silverstone, and Kevin's at Kevin Ashford
7.
At Kevin Ashford 7.
There we go, that's the one. Right, so cheers you guys for watching, and speak to you soon. Make sure you watch that video tomorrow at 4 o'clock, because it was actually really fun seeing all you guys. So cheers.
Yeah, cheers everybody. Thanks for watching, and we'll carry on with this next Sunday by the sounds of it then, because the comments are all good. And sorry for the start, that was my fault with the audio, and I think it caught me on the hop. I'm not happy with my performance today. I'll give myself a 6. Give Zara probably 6. I think Kev gets man of the match with a firm 8. But I'm only joking. I'll give them an 8. I thought I was poor, but yeah, maybe we can bring that in next week. That'll be interesting. In the last couple of minutes, we'll ask people to give people scores out of 10. I'll be on next with Alex because I'll win. But thanks everybody for watching. We did get Kev's thing there. You got Manchester is red as well, haven't you, Kev? Or are you still doing that?
Yeah, still do that as well. I'm just trying to think of the name. I think it's at Manky's Red MUFC. I still try to keep that up to date. It's obviously hard work when you've got 2 of them, but I'll get back doing me writing as well soon. So I'll always post stuff up on that and on the United stand. So look out for it.
Cheers everybody, thanks for watching. Make sure you watch that at 4 o'clock on tomorrow. It's really well worth a watch. We'll also have a preview and the live watch-alongs. Obviously we'll do that for Palace and Everton next week. I don't know who's going to be doing those, but we do those as well. So absolutely loads. There's pretty much daily content every week, so that'll be great. Thanks everybody for watching. Speak to you all later.